What up, positive vibrators tuning in around the world? In today's episode, we have one of my favorite hip hop artists in the game today, Chow Mane, reppin San Jose, California. He talks about how he got into the hip hop game, the different types of Asians in America today, and what keeps him motivated to keep grinding. Hope you guys enjoy this episode.
The burnt egg roll.
How you doing today, man?
How's it going, man? It's all good.
Good.
Just kicking it.
It's an honor and pleasure to have you on this podcast episode, man. I'm a fan.
Yeah, man, appreciate you having me on.
I've been listening to a lot of like your music throughout this past week, you know, because when I when I talk to like certain artists, like I like to have a good understanding of, you know, what they're about through at least through their art, you know.
Definitely, yeah. No, I appreciate that. I'm excited to see what we got in store today.
How was your performance like the other day? How did it go, man? I saw that you were performing there.
The one in Chinatown?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty last minute. You know, they the organizer, the homie from Mint, his name is Leo. He hit up me and Sahi like a week before, and we were in New York at the time. Just like doing some New York stuff. But, you know, he hit us up and he was like, you know, we got this Chinatown kind of festival. They're part of a group called Revive SF Chinatown, just trying to bring stuff back to that Portsmouth Square area of Chinatown. They're like, yeah, you guys want to just do like a song each? And we're like, cool, yeah, we'll just pull up real quick, do a song, and then, you know, dip out. And we get there, and then he shows us a schedule, and he gave us like 15 minutes. So we were like, oh, okay, like that's more than we expected. But okay, let's figure out a set list real quick. We didn't have any of the instrumentals or nothing on us, so we just like straight up ripped, just played the songs from Spotify and YouTube. No like live performance versions or anything, just like over our own vocals.
Which songs did you perform?
I wasn't really sure what the vibe they were trying to go for. So I've done a few of these rallies in the last few months where I've come on and I just performed the song "Go Back to China." Just being that, you know, these rallies have been a lot more, you know, political and about organizing Asians. But at this one, it was kind of more just people were kind of there just to have fun. You know, they're having a lot of like dance performances, like a lot of really upbeat stuff. And none of the other performers or speakers were really talking about the stuff that was going on. And then so it felt kind of out of place, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it anyway because it fits kind of. And, you know, the organizer was like, can you say a few words about you know, the stuff that's going on with Asian elders and all this? So I was like, yeah. I went ahead and I started with the Go Back to China song. And then just after that, we just completely switched the mood up and just went into a lot of the more upbeat stuff. So, you know, Sahi performed a few songs. He did like BWM and Purple EM Jam. And then I forget which other solo ones I did, but we're working on like a collab project for this summer. So we did like 2 songs from that. I think one of them was one we released already, Do What I Like. And
okay. Yeah, I like that track.
Other one. Yeah. So... yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
It was relatively short. You know, we didn't do too many songs. I was like speaking in between to you know, talk to the crowd and whatnot.
Are you sober right now? Are you blazing? Did you blaze today yet?
No, I didn't really smoke today. I've been smoking a lot less, like as of late. But you know, I don't know. I'm trying to be more productive. You know, it used to be like I would get up and, you know, last summer when I was kicking it with Sahi a lot during like quarantine, you know, he like faces like 20 blunts a day, so we'd wake up rolling frontos and whatnot, so I'd be smoking a lot. But like those days I'd kind of get nothing done. Like I'm kind of not the type that is able to get a lot of shit done, and I know like for him and for a lot of the other homies, like you know, they'll like work out, they'll like do hella shit like while they're high as fuck. But for me, like, I don't know. It don't matter how long I've been smoking. My tolerance is just like, like after one blunt, I'm gone.
I think it takes time. You know, like for me, like I didn't start smoking till like later in my like consistently till I moved to California when I was 27, and it took me a while to kind of like gauge like how I am in different settings while I'm high.
Yeah,
so and
that's
like
true.
Yeah, knowing when I'm more productive and when like I need to like take a step back and be more productive on certain things. But
there's definitely like a sweet spot. I mean, like I think I probably started smoking maybe like almost like 10 years ago, but when I was smoking, you know, back then it was like just out of pipes, and then at some point, you know, switched to bongs, and then I didn't really start like ripping blunts until like 3-4 years ago, and then even then, like, I didn't do it super often. It would be like, a few times a week, not like every day. But it's just never built for me. Like, so yeah, I mean, like, probably in these like last few months, I've only been like really smoking when I'm kicking it with the homies, probably like once or twice a week. And then when I'm doing that, I'm not really like doing nothing productive. I just kick it and watch TV or something.
How about like when you do music videos or like record? Do you do it high or?
I was about to say, like, we just shot a video for this song called Candy, from me and Sahi's like upcoming project like 2 days ago. And the homie from San Jose, his name is Baby Gangsta, he pulled up and then he had hella weed on him. He's like, "Don't want to get high." And then, DJ was already smoking all day, or Sahi was already smoking all day. But for me, I was like, just from experience, the last few times I smoked during a video set, I just like became hella conscious of like my movements and everything. and I was just like overthinking. I feel like mad self-conscious and mad like awkward on camera. So I was like, nah, I'm good, like, yeah, probably after, but just like, yeah, recently I just been like toning down a lot, and like, if anything, actually, I feel like I've been toning down a lot of stuff in general recently. Like, last summer too, I was like drinking every day, just like doing hella shit, doing hella psychedelics and whatnot, and just like, recently just been relatively sober. Especially this last week, I've been trying to like work out every day and eat celery and all that. So you know how it is.
What kind of psychedelics were you experimenting with?
Well, last summer when me and Sahi were working on this project, we were taking acid probably like every 2 weeks. And I got a bunch of shrooms too, but different strains and whatnot. But it's like I don't feel as productive off of shrooms as off of acid. So like off the LSD, we could go in. I'll like make a beat from scratch. A lot of the BAYGO stuff. I don't know if you listen to any of the BAYGO stuff, but pretty much every single.
Yeah, I listened to that Bust Down Butterflies yesterday, and I watched the video a couple times. It's pretty good, man. I like it.
Yeah, thank you. Pretty much every BAYGO song has been conceived 100% on acid when all of us tripping. So like, every time us three would get together, like last year or these last few months, probably not as much either, but like we would probably like take a tab around like 5 or 6 p.m. and just like work on music until like 3-4 a.m. and then we just knock out hella songs like that.
Sorry to cut you off. Like, how long does that high usually last for? Because I've never done acid before. I've done mushrooms a few times, but never acid. So I've always been curious about it.
It's like 8 to maybe like 12 hours at the most.
Off of like one tab.
Yeah, off of one tab, yeah. So you know how like on shrooms is a little different. Like when I'm tripping on that, I don't really get as much. I feel like, I kind of want to just sit and like think and vibe and whatnot. But off of LSD, you kind of, some of the similar effects of like feeling the psychedelic, mind state, but at the same time, like the way you feel inside is a lot more. You want to be active, and there's like a hint of like anxiety there in that, like in your chest, like you feel like you got to be doing something. And like before last year, I would only trip like maybe like once or twice a year, and it would only be like in nature or whatever. But then like the first time that I tripped with Sahi, we did that was like 2-3 years ago. And then after the second time we decided to do it, he was like, I want to sesh, I want to like work on music. And I was like, I don't know if I could do that, but I'll try, fuck it, and then we went ahead and we did it. And that first time that we were session like while making music was like super difficult for me, but like for him it was cool, even though that was like his second time tripping ever, but that was like when we worked on his first project, The Stay In. I don't know if you listened to that one, but I was the recording engineer for that project. So when I pulled up like FL Studio and I had like all the audio files and whatnot, like I was looking at them, and there was this one part where we were recording and there was something wrong with my interface or something, because like it wasn't picking up any noise. So the audio file was just like flat, but I wasn't sure if it was completely flat or if there was like static noise at it. So I was like looking really really hard trying to figure out what was wrong, but like the harder I looked, the more it would move because I was tripping. So like the lines would just be moving, and it was just like super difficult. I had to FaceTime my engineer homie and just like show him my computer screen, be like, hey, is this moving, bro? Like I can't really tell. We were trying to wrap up this session.
No, I was gonna say like I recorded a podcast episode a few weeks ago with young NTG, and he doesn't. His dad is a famous rapper in the game, like from back in the '90s and 2000s, but he doesn't like to use his dad to promote his music, which I respect. So, but his dad is. I'll just tell you, his dad is Crazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh no way! That's crazy.
Yeah. But if you have time, go back and peep out that episode with Young NTG. But I bring him up because he talks about doing LSD too, and he was telling me like it trips him out sometimes when he records like or he has songs, but then he gets on LSD and then he goes back and like listens to his music.
Yeah.
And he says it sounds a lot different, you know.
It does. I mean, I think like the type of music I make when I'm tripping is like a lot more fun and a lot more you know, I guess less serious and less like vulnerable, but it's a lot more upbeat. That's why like we decided once we came up with BAYGO, we were also tripping, but like that was you know, that whole group is just about like fucking around, having fun, and like doing funny shit basically. So
are you guys gonna put out a full album?
Yeah, we have a lot of songs in the works. So I think we're gonna just get everything together into a project and roll that out at some point, maybe like later this year. But yeah, like I see where he's coming from. You know, just like when I'm tripping, I don't really listen to my own stuff. Even when I'm like really high too, I don't really tend to like listen to my own stuff, unless it's like stuff where I know I'm like fucking around, but it's still kind of hard. You know, like the BAYGO stuff, I try out, you know, different flows. You know, the types of beats that I'm making are different than, you know, on my solo stuff. So it's
how did
a little less self-conscious, because it's like a different persona. That's why we go under our different names too. You know, I'm like Chow Montana. Dane goes under like Dano the Ruler, all that. So
yeah. I was gonna ask you, like, how did you kind of like, or how old were you, I should say, when you decided, okay, this is what I want to do, man. I want to get into like entertainment and rapping and all that.
Man, I probably didn't decide to do it full on until I was like 23. Like, I mean, I'd been doing music since I was like 12. Probably, you know, just messing around on Audacity and like YouTube beats. But I didn't decide to just like pursue music as like the way to make money and a way to, you know, like seriously put out stuff until I was like 23. I'm 26 now, so that was like 3 years ago. Maybe I was 22, end of 22. But so yeah, like 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, that it was like I was out of college and I worked my first job at Oracle, and I was there for like a year, and it was pretty boring. And I was like, man, I don't want to do this every day. I'd rather like, I mean, I'd been doing music, you know, every night when I get off work, and I'd been doing that since I was in like middle school, high school. So I was like, you know, why not? I'm gonna try to like, when I was like 22 or 23, I was like, this year I'm gonna try to like do my first show. I'm gonna try to put out my first project. At that point, I didn't know anything about engineering. I didn't know anything about anything. And then like somebody actually like found me on Reddit, like the homie Dylan from Santa Cruz. He like, I think I was on like the Making Hip Hop subreddit for like a month or two, and then he found me on there just posting like my stuff on SoundCloud, which was pretty trash. And then he was like, yo, you're hard, I want you on my album. And I was like, cool. So, you know, I recorded something for his album, and then like from there I linked up with the homie Jordan, who goes by Jigla Frost now. But he is really the one who put me on all the game. So he was from Santa Cruz, but by the time I met him, he lived in Richmond, and at that time I think I was in San Jose. And so I would go to his crib, which would be like an hour away. And he's the one who like taught me about like, well, he's the first one who engineered all my songs. And he taught me about rollouts and like how you got to think about releases. Because before I was just like, I'm gonna just upload a song a week on SoundCloud and put it on Facebook. And then he was like, nah, bro, you gotta get like these social media campaigns, make more content, like post about it for a week before, and you know, like run ads, like do all this stuff. So
that's what I was gonna say too. Like off of that, like I see that you produce a lot of content since like your first well, even before Simmering, you were releasing a lot of songs, and you have a lot of EPs. and you record a lot of music videos for like your songs. So I respect your grind and hustle a lot, man.
Yeah, this is something that I used to talk to Jordan about too, because when we started out, you know, the way he approaches music and the way I approach it is a little different. You know, his philosophy was always, you got to be either red hot or ice cold, meaning that like when you're hot, you got to just keep pushing stuff, or like if you're not, just like wait, you know, and wait until you got something like crazy, and then, you know, just take big breaks. So that's more like the approach that I think maybe more like industry artists, like let's say you know, Mac Miller or Tyler the Creator, where they have like these big releases, and then, you know, they don't have like huge enormous discographies, right, but they'll have like singles and then album like maybe once a year, or like these crazy mixtapes. And you know, I think that works for some artists, but for me, I kind of like the approach where you kind of just like flood everybody, the Gucci Mane approach. So, you know, a lot of the artists I listen to are a lot of like West Coast, like underground artists, and you know, other places too. I fuck with a lot of regions, but yeah.
I was gonna say, I laughed when you said Mac Miller, because that's who I see a lot of, like, in your style. And were you like kind of influenced by him a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Like you know, that Faces project he put out, that came out, I forget if I was in high school or if I was in college, but I had that on rotation like so much, especially like when he got into his like psychedelic era. I was like messing with that a lot, just like the way he flowed, the stuff he was talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of the earlier stuff I was you know, drawn from that a lot.
I was gonna ask you, like, and sometimes I like bounce around on questions and stuff.
That's cool, yeah.
But I was gonna ask you, like, who is your top 5 like Asian rappers? Not to be cliche, because we're both Asian, but like, who's your top 5?
Like, let me think. I gotta go reference my list real quick.
All good, man. I'll just chop and edit. I'll tell you my top 5 real quick while you're searching.
Yeah,
like,
go for it.
I think number 1 right now is this rapper named Chow Mane. Have you ever heard of him?
Let's go. Yeah, Chow Mane. Yeah.
I've been fucking with your stuff, because one thing, you know, I talk to a lot of artists on my podcast, like hip hop artists, because I guess that's just what I'm drawn to, or that's what I was into when I was a kid.
Right.
But like when I talk to different artists, I like to see, like, you know, how, or I would say I'm drawn to like authenticity.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Are they being themselves? And I see when I look at your art, like, I'm like, yeah, that's him. That's probably a good representation of who he probably is, you know? Because you get personal on a lot of your tracks too, like from SJ to Salinas, From the Soil. That's probably my favorite track that you did.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that's an underground cut. I like revisited that the other day. I was like, damn, I should have done like some content for this or something, because I haven't like been rapping like that on a lot of songs as of late, because I've been trying to do more like, you know, stuff that's a little more poppy, or stuff that's more like you know, being able to branch outside of to different audiences. But going back to your question, you know, I would say I'm gonna say top 5 right now. This is not in any order, but I've been listening to MB Nell. I've been listening to the homie Dana Mar. I think you know, his big stuff is like pop stuff right now, but the dude could spit for real. The homie Heartbreaker. Oh, actually, hold up. I gotta say, Young J. Shout out Young J from San Jose. He's like super underrated in my opinion. Like, you know, he's kind of more in that lane, the same lane that like Stupid Young and a lot of like the Asian gangster rappers are. But this dude like has a lot of bars that are like, you know, that kind of I missed the first time. If I go back, I'm like, damn, this dude got some punchlines. He's talking about street shit, but it's like, you know, he'll say some stuff that flies over. Yeah. Let's see. A lot of the Korean artists are going crazy right now too. Oh, shout out Lil Ricefield. Or Seiji Oda out from the Bay. They're going crazy right now too. Yeah, man. There's like so many more on my list, but that's who I got off top right now. But we can revisit that at some point.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I respect that, and when I go back and edit, like, I like to like because I chop everything, so I'm listening to the conversation, and sometimes like I'll go back, and if somebody like recommends something, or like they name something, I'll go and check out their stuff. So like I'll go back and look up some of these artists that you just named, and try to see what they're about. But
Yeah, definitely.
I was gonna say, like, for me, like, I like, yeah, Chow Mane at one right now.
Yeah, let's go.
And then I like Dumbfounded.
Oh, Dumb is dope. How could I forget Dumb? Yeah, that dude could spit for real.
Yeah.
He's been more on his podcast grind lately, but
Yeah.
he got his track record down, so he don't got to trip too much.
Yep. And then I would put, I would put MB No in there, Stupid Young. And then
Yep.
here's an artist that I just kind of started listening to more is Aquafina.
Oh, does she still make music?
She hasn't put out a project since 2018, but like,
Was that the one where she did My Vag? Oh, she did one. Oh, she did. Yeah, I didn't even know she put one out in 2018. I'll check that out.
yeah. But I like her because I feel like she's kind of authentic to herself too as well.
Yeah, definitely. You see that in like the, she has her own brand for acting and whatnot.
I just watched her movie called The Farewell. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I did. I watched it with my mom. She cried.
Yeah. It's a good movie, man. I like that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. But I was gonna say also, like, I was watching your Go Back to China music video, and in that video you were rocking that Jin The Rest Is History t-shirt. Like,
damn, nobody else has caught that.
I see, because yeah, he inspired me when I was younger, like, because in America, mainstream media, we don't have a lot of, like, there's not too much Asian representation. It's getting better today, but back then he was like really rare.
He was the only one. Yeah.
But
yeah, man.
What are your thoughts on his music?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Jin was going crazy when he was doing those freestyles, especially the battles. Like, and I feel like every Asian kid was on YouTube, watching all those. But his albums were I listened to all the Jin albums, and I can't remember which ones in particular that I messed with the most, but I do remember like there were a few of the mixtape joints where he was kind of going crazy, and some of them you could tell he was having fun with it too. I remember like he made some fart joke one that like really stuck to me because I was like, damn, that's so stupid, but it's so hard. But yeah, Jin's been doing his own thing. It's cool kind of seeing him like come back. Like people are like booking him for to speak on stuff regarding Asian Americans. I'm not sure what he's been up to as of late in terms of music. I haven't been like super up to date.
Yeah.
But Jin definitely was one of the ones who paved the way, and like especially as another Chinese American who like spoke Canto too. Like he's one that I think should get his flowers.
Definitely. I think he would like your stuff if he like ever looked at your stuff. Have you ever like tried contacting him?
I actually did when I first started doing music, like super early on, with like my very first project, but it was super like unpolished at that point, and I don't know if he was really messing with it like that. Or if he even like listened at that point because I was like just starting out, but I haven't like reached out since then, so maybe.
He's he's on a, sorry to cut you off, like he's on a, I guess he's on a different level. Like he put in a lot of grind, so
yeah, for sure.
I reached out to him too as well for like a podcast episode, and he reached back and like but I think it's kind of like the same thing. He's probably looking at my podcast and he's like, man, it's kind of unpolished. I'm on a different level. Not to say that's a bad thing, but like he's probably thinking in his head like, why would I come and do something with this guy? Yeah, but he wasn't disrespectful though. Like he was, he emailed me back and he was like, yeah, maybe we can do something in the future type of thing.
That's cool.
And
I mean that's probably that's like kind of similar to what I would get like when I was starting out too. When I first started out, one of the artists that I totally forgot to mention him too, but one of the artists that like kind of inspired me to do some of my first songs was Bohan Phoenix out in New York, and the homie Oksami, he produced some of my songs, and he's like kind of popping now as a producer. His name's Eric, but we went to college together, and he put me onto the song Bohan did in like 2015 or 16 called Foreign. And I heard in that one, that was like the first time I heard like a lot of Chinese instruments and Asian instruments in general used well in hip hop, where it wasn't just like a simple loop or whatever, but it was like pretty complex. And I forget who the producer was. Maybe it was Howie Lee, but that beat just went crazy. And he shot the video. He was in Beijing, and the hook is just like all my family foreign, and he's talking about like being Chinese American. He's split and he's combining it with like some Mandarin like halfway in it too. So I heard that, I was like, damn. After that I worked on Chinatown, which was like the first song I released. and I think that was also back in 2015. It was like a SoundCloud release, but then
Sorry to cut you off. I was gonna say on that song Chinatown. Because I listened to like most of your singles too,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
listened to Chinatown. And one line that you had in there was about some girl from Diamond Bar.
yeah,
And I actually live in Diamond Bar, so
oh, that's crazy. You down there right now?
yeah.
That's cool. I visit SoCal, you know, twice a month probably. I'm going back there next week to shoot some stuff.
Okay.
But where was I going with this story? What were we talking about right before I brought up Bohan?
Just influences, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, regardless, yeah, that started me down that path. And what we were talking about was reaching out to people. So like after that, you know, I sent him the song, the Chinatown song. This was, I think, back before I started doing music, like seriously. I was still doing this as a hobby at that point. This was back like 2015. And he like reposted on SoundCloud and whatnot. He was like messing with this. So I was like, cool. But I reached out to him like when I started to try and do music like for real, like probably 2 years later. And I was like, yo, like what's up? Can we link and whatnot? And then, you know, he was like, you know, maybe in the future hit me back, you know. 'Cause at that time I was just like I just started my whole like IG, my whole like everything and whatnot. So
Yeah, I think some of these people that you reach out to, if you keep grinding over time and they see your body of work and that you're putting in work.
I think that's how it is for a lot of people, because you know there's a lot of you know, when you're doing stuff, like people are gonna hear you, but it's like, what are you gonna do now that you got eyes on you to stand out and to make an impression on others? And that doesn't just go for like other people in the industry and other artists, but you know, just for fans in general. Because like I think, you know, follower count or like fan count is just a matter of like how many people want to see what you're doing, but it doesn't mean that's how many people like know of you and are, you know, keeping an eye out for what you got. And that's why you see such a difference between like your numbers on like YouTube and social media and like Spotify. You know, Spotify, people always have like so many more like listeners than they do have like followers or fans or whatever. So yeah, you never know who out there.
I don't know if you remember Jin's like his 1459 project. Do you remember that?
Let me look up the cover. I kind of remember albums by their art a lot of times.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me see. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, the one with his head.
Yeah.
Yep, I do remember that.
It was more like him, like in it, I guess his state of mind at that time, more like family man, like getting into like his religious side.
For sure.
But he was promoting that album like in Koreatown, and
that's dope.
So I went out there to show love, and like I met you know that Korean cook Roy Choi.
Oh yeah, I heard of him. He did the LA Sun book.
Yep. Yeah, so I met him. He's cool, and Dumbfounded was there and Aquafina was there, but I didn't talk to them because they were kind of like, they looked like they were doing their own thing, you know, so I didn't want to bother them. But like I talked to Jin for like a few minutes, like after he did his performance and all that, and one thing I noticed about him is that he has a crazy like memory.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he's like very like acute, and he can remember like names, and he's very aware of everything.
Damn, that's like a trait a president would have. Like what was his name, Bill Clinton?
Yeah, he's a very nice guy though. But but that's why I brought him up, because I was like, I think if you reach out to him, or eventually, I'm sure he'll probably take notice of your work because of your grind and hustle. So the first, I guess, piece of music that I've ever heard from you was that track San Jose. So
okay, for sure.
I think that your video came up like on it was on my YouTube recommendations probably. So I clicked on it and I was like, who is this guy? And I was like, damn, he reps San Jose hard. And like I told you, like I have a lot of family like in the Bay Area, like Cupertino.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And Fremont, San Mateo area.
The whole South Bay area, yeah. Shout out San Jose. Shout out YouTube algorithm. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. But you seem very like that's one thing about your music is I feel like you're very like you rep like Asians in San Jose hard, which I respect. So like talk about that. Like how did you find this love for San Jose, and what made you want to portray it like that hard in your music?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. I think, you know, just a little on my background. You know, I came up between Salinas and San Jose. I was born in Monterey, and my parents got divorced when I was like 5. And you know, a lot of my family, they lived in San Jose, but you know, when my mom and dad were together, we were in Salinas. And you know, after the divorce, I would start going between Salinas and Seaside, which is where my grandma lived. And then like probably like when I was starting middle school, my dad moved up to San Jose, which is where all my aunties and all them live, because he kind of didn't have a lot of money at that point, so he had to move in with my aunt. And so I would be back and forth between Salinas and San Jose all the time. And I think the culture was just like so different. Like having come up in Salinas, where there weren't a lot of Asian people in general. Like at school, I was like a token Asian, and like most of the kids were either Mexican or white. And all the Asian jokes and people not knowing stuff about them. And then like even the like 2 or 3 other Asian kids at the school, like they didn't really want to be friends. So my only friends like growing up were the homies Xavier and Lauren, who were brothers. They were like they're half black, half Mexican, but we used to play Maple Story and Yu-Gi-Oh and all that together. It was kind of funny too, because Lauren was the older brother, and at school, he would try to avoid, because he wanted to be like a thug, so he would hang out with his like gangster homies and whatever. And at that time they wore like hella big tees, and they talked like hella bad and whatever. Yeah. And I would just kick it with Xavier, and then after school we went to the after school program, and then he'd come and we'd play like Yu-Gi-Oh together and shit, and then he'd like be totally different. But yeah, shout out Lauren. He hella like in tune with like spirits and astrology and stuff now, so it's pretty different. But anyway, I came up there. I was like one of the only Asians, and then when I would be up in San Jose, like with my dad, I would kick it with my cousin, and like the culture was just like so different. Like I didn't know what boba was before, for example, just like something that's so, how like I think a lot of Asian Americans like define a lot of their culture by like the food we eat, and a lot of that stuff is around that's like so integral. Like there was none of that in Salinas, so like
tasty.
And yeah, tasty, exactly. So up in San Jose, there's a lot of that. And then basically like a lot of the friends that I made that I ended up kicking it with a lot more were up in like San Jose, and a lot of the friends I kind of kick it with now are still like from out there, except for like a few in like like SF and like the city and whatnot. But I moved to Oakland probably like a year, like 2 ago, but I still go down to San Jose like 2-3 times a week just to kick it with the homies. And I think just sorry, am I cutting you off?
No, you're good. I was gonna say like your story is kind of in a smaller sense, like it's kind of similar to mine, because I was born and raised in East St. Louis, Illinois. Middle America. So where I grew up, like that city, St. Louis, is over 50% black, and I think the other half like white, and then there's barely any Asian people in Middle America. So kind of like you, I didn't have many Asian friends either as a kid. So that reminds me of your song Da Da Da.
Oh yeah, man.
Where you're talking about like Asians that are more like whitewashed, right?
Yeah.
And so I like that track, because that's how my mind state was growing up in Middle America. Like I was more like, I only had white and black friends, so I was either white or black washed, whatever you want to call it. And I didn't start like expanding like into like Asian stuff till I got a little bit older.
I think that happened for a lot of people. That happened for me at some point too when I was in like high school. And that was kind of like what that song was addressing, was just like a former mind state that I had, and one that I still saw in, especially like when I was in college in the Bay Area at Cal Berkeley, which is more in the East Bay, but there were a lot of like there was a big Asian population there, but it was different from like San Jose Asians. Like I guess there's a difference between like NorCal and SoCal, and then like even like SF has a different culture from like South Bay and all that. But I didn't realize, I guess, how unique the community that I was in San Jose was, and the kind of friends I had, and the whole like culture within like like car groups, ABGs, kind of this broader like Asian Twitter type thing. I didn't realize like how, I guess, unique to the West Coast and specifically NorCal it was, until I would kick it with some of my like LA homies that I would meet through music, and like they'd point out like all these differences, and then like even kicking it with like Jordan, who didn't really have much experience with Asians. He went to UC Santa Cruz, but he came from Richmond, and as a person who wasn't Asian, just like how new all these things were, and like one of the first songs that I had that popped out for me was one called ABG, and that was one that I made as a joke in college with the LA homie, with the Korean homie, back in like 2014, I think. And then like, you know, it has small rotation at like the Asian frats at Berkeley. They played it at like the Lambda House and whatever, and then like they played it at like USC, UCLA, some of these like frats down there too. And then so I kind of revisited that and you know, made a new version, put it on the Mooncakes project. I actually had a video up for it too, but we had to take it down recently for like legal issues, like a few months ago. I don't know if you ended up catching it, but yeah, that was.
I know
that
the
was, like,
song. I listened to the song. I didn't see
Yeah.
the video though.
that was one of the first videos that went like viral for me, because like I posted on Facebook, and then like a lot of these pages started ripping it and reposting it without crediting, so I knew that's like when you pop off. Yeah, so that like actually got like a mil or 2 mil or something on Facebook.
Nice,
And then
nice.
like on YouTube it like racked up numbers too. But essentially like after that I was like, damn, well, I didn't realize how specific this like kind of term was, or like the history of it to like kind of the Bay Area. And you know, now I think like a lot of people everywhere use it, like LA, and then, you know, TikTok expanded it, like people in the East Coast and Midwest are using it too. But like if you're looking at the history of it, like I remember back when I was growing up, like that was something that it was kind of like a derogatory term for like for Asian girls. It's like the girls who hung out with like the thugs and like the ones who were like kind of like easy and like whatever. So like people didn't really want to be called that. And like if you saw like Tokyo Drift and stuff, that's like that was like the original AVG, and a lot of them like were kind of scary, man. They have like attitudes and shit, and like
I used to like those kind of girls, man. When I was
Yeah.
growing up, I was more attracted to them.
No, definitely, and I think the aesthetic and the definition has like changed a little bit over the course of you know, the last like 15 years, because like now there's like a lot of Gen Z, and even like within my generation, like when I was in college, it started referring to like girls who were just like, you know, like going to raves, and they wore all black, and they had like the lashes and all that, and like boba and whatnot. And then like a lot of, you know, it wasn't as much as like you're badass no more, but it's more, it became like an aesthetic and kind of its own culture. And you know, it was like such a big thing, like where I was from, like everybody, like every Asian girl was like that. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna make a song about it. And then like I didn't realize that was like such a like, I guess, San Jose thing. Of course, like down in OC, y'all doing it a lot too, you know, especially like Westminster. I've been to the Source a few times. I've seen like Korean girls do that too. but I didn't realize, you know, it started up in like SF with like the car
Yeah.
culture.
No, I was
and, like,
sorry. Yeah, sorry to
San
cut
Jose.
you off. I was gonna say when you brought up Westminster, you know, they're known for like their Vietnamese coffee shops.
Yeah, yo, the coffee shops there are different from the ones in San Jose, bro. Like, I got a few homegirls who work the coffee shops in San Jose, and they talking about like how they like the San Jose ones more because they're treated like princesses, and versus Westminster, like you gotta do so much more to get the same money, like. And the Westminster ones are like crazy too. Y'all they talking about like, damn, like customers want to do all like sex stuff and like get hella touchy and whatever.
Dude, I was gonna tell you like about 10 years ago, I went to a coffee shop in San Jose, actually, kind of close to the 101. I was pretty drunk and high at that time, so I don't remember like the exact location. But my cousin, like, he I might take this out, but like he's in Livermore,
Yeah.
and so he has a lot of buddies, and they all have money at that time, and they like to trick off dough.
Yeah.
And so but with this Vietnamese coffee shop in San Jose, like after hours, they would turn it into kind of like a strip club type of thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to?
That happens a lot on after hours. I haven't seen one at a coffee shop, but a lot of the Viet bars do that. A lot of the ones where they like, you know, plaster up all the windows, get all black, and it's in like a normal ass like random plaza. Everything's closed, but for some reason there's hella cars there. You pull up Hennessy bottles like $500, like it's the club, but it's just
the shit was like a dirty rap video that I was in. I was like, they had like strippers, and then they had like rap videos playing in the background, and it was around that time. It was when like Drake's track, Drake and Lil Wayne's song "She Will" was popular that summer.
Oh, yup.
And so like it was funny, man. Long story short, I was drunk and high, and like in that place, and like there was this fine like stripper sitting on my lap, and I was like, you know, in that song "She Will," he's like, she looked back and something told me if it was real.
Yeah.
And they were playing that song, and I was like, "Are those real?" And this stripper, she took my hands and put them on her chest and was like, "Feel them." It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, man. Yeah, those coffee shops and the Viet bars are wild now too, cause like especially the ones in San Jose, they play a lot of Asian rappers, and I see myself up there randomly sometimes too when I pull up. Like my homegirl who works at one of them down in San Jose, like she always sends me like Snapchats or like a story post every time they play one of my joints on the on the TV. So it's
nice,
cool.
nice. Yeah, that's dope. I like that track. Ice. Let me see.
Ice
Make
JJ
sure.
Fish?
Yeah, Ice JJ Fish. I wasn't familiar with that, so I had to look it up. Is that like a restaurant?
No, it's a singer. It's that the dude. He was like a meme rapper. But when did he pop? I don't know when he blew up, but 2014, 2015. But he like sang a lot, like super off key, and would go into falsetto and like normal and break up, and then like just the way he looked and the way he danced was just so like captivating, but so bad is good type of way.
Yeah.
But essentially like I just called it that song because I wanted to do a song where I was doing a lot of falsettos and a lot like I can't really sing like that, but I wanted to still do it anyway. And if you hear in the backing, all the dubs are like I did so many layers of like falsettos and like stupid sounding shit that I had the engineer like fix up in that song. So it was kind of just capturing that energy, like how he's having fun with it and how he's just like messing around. That's kind of what I was doing too.
When you were talking about singing, like I like that track that you have Ever Since too, where you're kind of doing more singing. So I was like, yeah,
that was essentially the first time I did that, and then like I liked that song. I was like practicing that voice crack at that time. You remember I don't remember his actual name, but the dude they call Lil Hank Williams, the Walmart kid.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
There was this little white kid in Walmart in like a cowboy uniform, and he was singing like country where I don't know what it's called, but that thing in country music where they break into falsetto like halfway through a word. So I was like, damn, I want to do that, but like on a hip hop song. So I did that on Ever Since, and then like Ice JJ Fish was kind of the spiritual successor. Like when I was like at that time before I had South Bay Summer together, I was like. I think the music I was making like started getting a little more like serious, and I was like, man, it's not like as fun anymore. I want to make some like fun stuff again. So I like worked with P.V.R, the producer, on that, and ended up the concept for it came from that basically because I wanted to do more falsetto on songs again because that was the only song I done that in before. And actually one of the original before I had the South Bay Summer project conceived, like I was trying to follow up the ABG track since that was like the one hit that I had and go off of that theme, and I was gonna call the project Falsies and Falsettos. And so like one thing I wanted to do was just like do hella songs that had like falsettos and then like talk about girls, but then I was like, damn, it's kind of like if it was 2012 maybe I could have done it, but it's a little too corny now, so I'm not gonna do that name anymore.
I feel you. I noticed that like from your first project to your next project, like you didn't have any ink. Like, can you talk about your ink like a little bit? Like, what is it and what does it represent and where did you get it?
Yeah. Well, I think the first time the first piece I got was probably 2 maybe 3 years ago, and I never got stuff before because when I was with my ex she didn't really want me to have tattoos, but then you know how it is.
Yeah.
But
I know how it is.
I always wanted like Chinese themed stuff, and I linked up with the homie Corey out in KT down in San Jose, who I'd known for a little while just from like we used to go out and whatever, go drinking and whatever, but essentially like I wanted just like kind of Chinese themed stuff, and bro, like none of my stuff really has meaning or anything. I just like this bamboo piece I got right here with the birds. I was at Vegas one day at like a dim sum restaurant and they had this on the wall. I was like, that's tight. I'm gonna take a picture of it. And I just went to my artist. I was like, can you just like put this Chinese restaurant wall on my arm? And he's like, yeah, okay, for sure. And the rest of it is just like random, stuff that I mess with. I got chili peppers because I like eating spicy, some lychee, tea leaves, star anise, 5 spice, all that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. I like it, man. Do you plan to get more ink?
Yeah, I'm working on some other stuff. Like a lot of the recent ink I've been getting is more low key, like hidden. I got some stuff on my upper leg and under my shirt, but I don't. You know,
Yeah.
it's more just like personal. I'm not trying to like go
Yeah.
super crazy with it, but maybe one day I'll get more like showing.
Yeah. That's dope. That's dope.
Like,
Going back to like San Jose,
yeah,
like a lot of the stuff that you rap about, like the freeways and stuff like 280 and 80, like I'm
yep,
familiar with.
yep.
And but I was gonna ask you, have you ever like driven on 152 around Gilroy?
Yeah, yeah, a few times. I mean, my mom, she just moved to Florida, but she was still in Salinas until like 3, 4 months ago. That's when she moved. So I'd be going down. Sometimes I take that path. There's too much traffic on the 101. So yeah, you know, I've seen around there a lot of freeways. Actually, when I made that song, I had to like go and just write down like all the stuff I remember from growing up in San Jose and all the stuff I remember from like just like kicking it there all the time and just like incorporate that into verses, and that's how I put that song together. Um, that song actually, it was supposed to be a throwaway track at first. Like it was just like I had the song called She Glowin', and
Hmm.
when I dropped that as a single, I wanted San Jose to be just a B side to it, and so like I just went in the studio. I made the beat like super fast. It was just like chops and like a really simple drum loop, and I went into, at the time I was recording at Redwall Studio, and I went in there. I just laid down the verses. Engineer sent back the first mix. I didn't even listen to it. I just submitted it into like Foundation, which was my distributor at the time, and then like a week later, like this was like super last minute. Normally, like, you know, you want to send in songs that have like 2, 3 weeks lead time so that, you know, Spotify, whatever, can like listen to it and playlist it if they like it. But this one, I was like, you know, this is nothing. It's a throwaway song. I'm gonna just put it up like 2 days before, and I sent it in. And like next thing I know, it's on like 4 or 5 different playlists. Like, it got picked up. Like white people now hit me up from like Chicago, from like the Spotify team, be like, hey, we really like this song. Like, this is dope. We're gonna put it on like our Fresh Finds, hip hop, like this big one. So that one like started blowing it up on Spotify, and like on social, or I mean on streaming in general. So I was like, damn, maybe I gotta shoot a video for this. And I even listened back to the song, and I listened to the mix because I didn't listen to it before submitting it. I was like, damn, there's all this shit. Like, the hi-hats are hella loud. My vocals are all phased. This shit's all fucked up. And like they're messing with this. So even then, I had to like go back to the engineer and like ask him to like fix up all the stuff in the mix and then resubmit it, you know, to replace the audio file on Spotify. But yeah, I had to shoot that video after putting the song together because I didn't think it was like that hot a song. And then
You know, out of all this
now here
song,
we
like
are.
I'll play your music around my girl. She's Filipino, and she likes that song San Jose.
It's
She
so
really likes that one.
breezy and upbeat, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting too because I think like a lot of people in San Jose and a lot of people that know my music, just like especially like in the circles of artists who do like a lot more like serious, like darker stuff. They're when they try to find songs for me, they say it's a struggle sometimes because, like, you know, not a lot of people do kind of the upbeat, kind of fun type of stuff I do, and you know, I definitely have like, you know, more serious music as well, but uh, it's interesting that that's like what people like know me for in that, like, you know, kind of this more
Yeah.
carefree, like sarcastic, like fun type of sound that I
Yeah.
got.
I think yeah, you have a good mixture of tracks. Your music, you have like a wide range of subjects, and I do see what you're talking about. You have like the more like fun side, and then you have like the personal songs, which I think at
Yeah,
my age, I'm 37, so I'm more attracted to like the personal side,
most
like
definitely. Yeah.
your fun tracks, like that was me like 10 years ago. So I'd be in that shit, you know. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
still
I
I
feel that.
still feel it though because that's a part of my life, like what you rap about, you know.
Yep.
So
Appreciate that. Yeah.
it's dope, man.
I just had this conversation with like a homegirl last week. No, not like 2, 3 days at the video shoot. So like, for example, I was with my homegirl Jamie. She's from LA, but she knows me through the homie Wes, who's a singer, and he does like a lot more like um uh I think he took a lot. We took a lot of his music down, like, cause he signed to the label that we created, Five Spice Entertainment, and we're like re-rolling his stuff out. But a lot of the stuff he had before was a lot like more personal, dark R&B. That's like, um, you know, a lot more like reflective. And we had a few projects we put out together as well. And you know, she and a few other like friends like knew me mostly from that, and they listened to those projects a lot. And you know, on that side, I was like talking a lot more serious. And she had a conversation with my other homie at the shoot. His name's Bao, and he was talking about like how he was talking about what I just told you with like all these street rappers that he knows that want to work with me, but they're like, damn, we don't have anything that's like fun or upbeat or like not serious. And then she was like, really? I think it's like opposite. She was like, when I think of Chow, I think of like all these like like
Yeah, I think when the right time comes, like you'll link with the right like artist and make something happen.
Yeah, it's I think I'm heading towards like this cohesion. One of the problems I had like with simmering and like around the era was like I was kind of all over the place, and I think like slowly I'm starting to come together into a specific style and sound that is more recognizable.
Yeah, it takes time. I think for any like artist or creator, the more they keep doing something, eventually they're gonna keep evolving into something.
Definitely. Yeah, man. That's what we're out here to do.
For you, like, what is like your biggest motivation or like driving factor to keep producing new content and music?
I would say I think at first it started out with I wanted to just like make an impact and make my mark known, in that like I wanted to represent for people who have come from similar backgrounds as me, and I wanted to bring a type of like voice and a type of perspective that hasn't really been seen that much in hip hop or in American music in general. And that's kind of what it started out as. And at this point, I think like a lot of it has become more like I'm doing it because I just love doing it. And like sometimes like I'll have songs that are maybe more like therapy sessions for me, where I'll just like try to write out all my thoughts. I have a lot of like these notes in my phone that are just like paragraphs of just like thoughts and whatnot, about like certain things, like maybe like relationship stuff, or maybe like stuff about growing up, and just like turning those into songs sometimes helps a lot, versus just like having these swarm around in my head. And other times like it's just about like linking up with the homies who make music and just having fun with it, making music together is just like what we love doing, and sharing that like joy to to everyone else.
I like that Fronto Garden song too, where you're talking about getting high and going to Walmart.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that was I know Sahi for a while. I met him at the same time I met Jordan, probably like 4 years ago. But we were in Tahoe at the time for the homegirl's birthday party, and we said on that song, "Do drugs, I just smoke weed." We were on hella drugs when we made that song. We were on hella shit, but we were in Tahoe. We didn't really know. Like my homegirl, she brought a bunch of like her friends from. She's like a big gamer, so she was like really into MapleStory M, the mobile version, and then so she had like a guild. She was like one of the top players, so like she had like all her guild friends like come, and they're all just talking MapleStory stuff, and me and Zahi were there just smoking blunts, and we are like, all right, let's make some music then, because I don't know what the hell else we're gonna do here, and we came up with that song one night, so it kind of just captured the vibe. It's just like having fun and being upbeat, and I think like that was the first to kind of transition into this project that we're rolling out this summer.
Oh, okay, you're talking about the BAYGO project?
Not the BAYGO one. So me and Sahi have our own like collab project that we're working on to put out this summer. So
right.
I Like was one of the first ones. We have like 3 other singles, and then we're gonna put that out like probably August or July or something.
Oh, okay, nice. I'll definitely be checking for that, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm a fan.
Thank you.
No, I just thought of a question. Like, I usually try not to watch like too much stuff about an artist before like I talk to them, because I want to go into like an episode with the like kind of like a fresh mind. But
yeah,
I did watch the one that you did with that older Asian man, and like where you were cooking. Do you remember that one? It's a shorter clip.
Yeah, the one that was on like CGTN. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, but in that one you talked about like that you're half Vietnamese too as well, right?
No, so he got that wrong. I said so yeah, when they came out with that, they got some things wrong, but it's cool. So my dad's side of the family, they're from Vietnam, but they're ethnically Chinese. So I would say maybe like culturally, I guess like there's definitely a lot of Vietnamese influence in that. Like my stepmom, she doesn't speak English, she only speaks Vietnamese, and like basically everyone on my dad's side of the family, they all speak Vietnamese, but ethnically Chinese.
Okay, yeah, because I was wondering, because like after I heard that, like I was like, but he reps more China, you know,
Yeah,
Chinese
yeah.
his Chinese side. But I guess
Yeah,
that makes more sense now after you explained that to me.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm mixed. Like with my dad is Chinese and my mom is from South Korea.
Oh, that's sick. Okay.
So
I see some Korean features and some Chinese. I see the beard is like sick.
appreciate it, man. But yeah, like, but it was weird for me growing up because my dad, like his biggest like I guess inspiration as a kid or teenager was Elvis Presley. So
Oh, interesting.
so he thought he
Okay.
was like a white dude.
Damn.
Like that's who
Yeah.
he saw. So when he moved to America, like during like that Civil War time in China, um, he guess I guess he just kind of like forgot like his Asian side. Like he didn't really rep it that hard, and so he wanted me and my brothers to like kind of fit into like mainstream America.
Yeah.
And so I always knew I was Asian, but then like going outside of that, like outside of um thinking outside of that, like people, as much as you want to think like you're white or you're black, like
Mhm.
because that's who you see in your surroundings, other people they look at you as an Asian, you know, because
Yeah.
it's in our face. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think especially outside of areas where there are a lot of Asians, such as California, or like such as certain parts of California, you know, it's a lot easier to get lost into that. And when you look at like Asian American like literature and like people writing about it, especially like from over 10 years ago, especially like in the 90s and like early 2000s, like this is an issue that like a lot of people have faced. And I think like I'm not sure off the top of my head like if it's been addressed in a lot of music or other stuff, but definitely like stuff that I've seen people talk about even like recently on like Twitter, and like some journalists talk about it in like certain articles, just like feeling like it's like what you said earlier, like wanting to attach to your surroundings. So you know, if you're surrounded by white people, you know, a lot of Asians like want to put on, you know, try to be white, or like a lot of Asians who like grow up around like black communities, you know, they'll want to try to be more black. It's a lot harder to have your own kind of Asian identity if you don't have that physically in like your community, you know, like you're a product of what you're around and what you know. And if you know there's not a lot of Asians around, uh, it's kind of hard to have that. And even like the Asian American culture itself in general is like relatively new compared to a lot of other communities. And I think like you know it's also only in certain places. But you know the cool thing about the internet and about stuff that ideas and cultures catching on so quickly is that like, you know, this is growing kind of exponentially, and people are maybe able to find more homes in their like imagined communities now.
Yeah, yeah. It is true. I think a lot of times like we're just like kind of like our thoughts and ideas are just a reflection of our surroundings.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, so that's why I kind of like that track da da da, because
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I know what you mean, because like I didn't think about it as a kid, but like I was very like white and black washed in middle America.
Yeah, I saw that a lot. When I wrote that song, when I did a lot of that project, I was still in college, and so when I was in the East Bay and at Berkeley, there were a lot of Asians who, yeah, you know, even though there are a lot of Asians, like you could see like a lot of Asian people from, you know, different places, even like within the Bay themselves, but you know, trying to be more fitting within like this American mold of whiteness or blackness. And you know, you saw that in like the way people dressed, the way people talked, the way people just like kind of carried themselves was just like, you know, sometimes you met Asians who didn't want to associate themselves with other Asians. You know, they wanted to hang out with only like white people, or like you know, stuff like that. So that's something I wanted to kind of address a little bit on that song.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel it though, man, because yeah, that's how my mind state was. And it took me a while. Like after I graduated college, like I moved to Korea, because I didn't know too much about my Korean side.
Yup.
So I was teaching English out in Korea, and
It's dope.
that's when like I kind of like, it kind of opened my eyes, because growing up in St. Louis, like, you know, that's all I see is white or black people. So
Right.
that's where my mind state was at. But being put in that environment where it's all like people that look like me, it's
Yeah.
like, damn, it's different. But they were, even
Yeah.
though we looked the same, we were different though, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's Yeah, it's crazy too, cause I mean, I guess it depends on how you dress and how you carry yourself too. But sometimes they'll think that you're native Korean or Chinese or whatever, and they'll talk to you and you'll be like, yeah.
Have you like been to China?
Yeah, I used to go to China every few years with my mom because she's the only one here from her family from China, and she's been trying to get everybody else to come, but nobody else wants to come to the States. Everyone's happy in China.
Yeah.
So we go back and visit, once every few years. And yeah, kick it with my grandma, my uncles, all them. But
How did you
yeah,
feel when you were out there? Did you feel like you were accepted among them, or you didn't really? How do you feel like they looked at you?
yeah, I think well, definitely like once they know that you're American, they'll treat you more like a tourist, and everyone will try like especially in like tourist areas, everyone's gonna try to finesse you and all that. But it's always been love within the family and within like the friends, and usually like whenever I'd go out anyway, it'd be with people in my family anyway. So uh, it'd just be like it's normal. I'd be one of them. So we'd pull up to the market together. We'd go to the park with my grandma, work out. Go to some of the like nice scenery views that people go hang out and take pictures at and whatnot. So yeah, I haven't really gone there just like alone. So maybe it'll be different. We'll see.
Yeah,
I might
it'll change
once
as you get older and your experiences change and your views change. Like the
for sure.
experience might be different, even though you're going to the same place, right?
Right. Yeah, once stuff opens back up again, we'll see what's up back in China. see how everything is.
Yeah. One thing I was gonna ask you, like you had this song called "Vote," and that was probably your most like political
Oh,
song. So, like, what are your thoughts on like the? Well, let me rephrase that. Like, are you like into politics that much?
yeah, relatively. Well, so for that song in particular, that was I actually I don't even remember how my verse went, but uh, Alan and Jason, they're like a lot more on this kind of like Asian American activist tip, and I've read a lot about the topic, and I did major in like political economy in school, so I have some idea of like the power systems and societal systems of how different countries operate, and how in America specifically, how we've treated minorities and how Asians have played a part in its history in general. So I have like kind of this surface level, I would say, knowledge of it, and they tapped me in for this song, and I think for one other song on their most recent project. Um, but I think like when it comes to my own personal releases and my own music, I tend to not try to be super in your face about anything, because I think the whole approach when I'm making music is a lot more personal and a lot more
Hmm.
I guess upbeat, and so I'm happy to hop on and talk my shit politically if I have to on like a feature or like a collaboration or something, if I'm requested to, or if it's something maybe I do want to get off my chest. But I think like as far as like how deeply political I'm gonna go is like Go Back to China was probably the one where my own release, I was kind of going on to this topic, and even with that, like the original verse I wrote for that song was like a lot longer and had a lot more like specifics and like details about like Asian American history, and how we fit in, and once I finished that verse, I went back to it and I was like, damn, I don't know if people really want to listen to me like preach to them about the Immigration Naturalization Act of 1965. I'm gonna take all this out, and I'm gonna add in this Game of Thrones line instead. And so like,
Yeah.
I think like the way I want to approach music is a lot more. I think like if you have that sentiment that you want to get across, I think like you can reach a broader audience if you communicate it in a way that's more relatable, and maybe like um, yeah, just I guess a little
Hmm.
more relatable than
Yeah.
listen to music where it sounds like someone's like trying to preach at you.
Right.
It's
Right. Right.
like maybe the reason why like Kendrick Lamar might have like popped off more than like Immortal Technique. You know,
Yeah.
it's
There's a saying like you got to mix the medicine in the candy, right?
yeah, right, exactly. So I think like Go Back to China is probably the one that I have like that's most overtly it, and Vote, definitely Jason Allen tapped me in for that, and there's some stuff I want to say for sure, but going across just like my own stuff. You might catch glimpses and whatnot of like ideas I want to get across, but I try not to just be super in your face, like this is how you should think and this is like what you should do and whatnot, you know. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I respect that. Yeah, I like that approach too. Like
Yeah.
that's what I try to do too. Like I don't mind talking like about like political things on this podcast
Right. Right.
because I know where I stand mentally. So,
Yeah.
but I'm always open to new ideas to hear people's thoughts, and I like hearing like why people think the way they think.
Right. Right. Right.
So, but like in America, like I feel like the narrative against China is bad in mainstream media.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of that growing, you know, part of the Cold War efforts, and you know, you see it a lot, just like the way like New York Times and a lot of these like major publications like write about China in their headlines for like normal ass shit,
Yeah,
or like how, you know, how they'll try to put like a negative spin on positive things and all that. But you know, it is uh
yeah, and like
it is how it is.
yeah, but like you know, a lot of some of my family, it's kind of funny because like I kind of like took some time to like read books about the world and things of that nature to get a broader perspective. But I have some family members that you know they're Asian, but they still believe like they're white and they believe in like the system and all that type of stuff. And so
Right,
it's
right.
just kind of interesting to me to see that, you know, and but it's just I guess that's just the like culture that we live in America. Like,
Yeah, definitely. And I think like yeah, even here in areas where, you know, it's mostly like Asian, I think like there are a, you know, even though it's less so nowadays, there's still like a not a majority, but you know, a big chunk of Asians who are like more apolitical, or you know, who don't delve super deeply into you know, the background of, you know, certain belief systems, or like how you know, narratives are being pushed and whatnot. So it's it's something that, you know, hopefully is changing slowly with time. I think like people since like last year and since the last few years have become a lot more like politically aware, but it's a matter of, you know, people taking the initiative to look past, you know, maybe mainstream outlets and look into um, you know, verified research and whatnot.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of mainstream media. I try to like stay away from it as much as I can
Yeah, definitely.
and try
Like,
to understand history and gain like my own opinion on different things.
I mean, one of the things I think like a lot of people learn in school is just like how uh, just word choices affect, you know, certain ideas, and how ideas are communicated, where you might say like were killed or killed by, you know, these minor differences in like language can change like the tone of like journalism. And you know, journalism has like a huge impact on uh, you know, people in America, especially seeing that has like, I think a lot of people, myself included, for certain topics, is like, you know, you'll just scroll past the headline and not delve deeper into the story. And even within the story, you know, there's obviously author biases and whatnot. So yeah, man. I don't know if there's a solution or anything, but it is what it is for now.
Yeah, I think it's just you know knowing about history. Like I feel like a lot of the stuff that we see now has happened already in the past,
Right.
and it's like just continuing to like push more like uh positive messages like with people that have a platform.
Mm-hmm.
And but at the same time I feel like there's some artists that are more inclined to do that, and then but I don't think
For
all
sure.
artists should do that, you know, if that's not what they feel in their
For
heart,
sure. For sure.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like there's certain issues obviously that I think I'm more fit to like speak on, versus like, you know, you can't expect, I think, everybody to have an opinion on everything or to be that spokesperson for everything. But yeah, that's that. You know, I agree with you. Pushing that messaging and that positivity out from like um, people that have these platforms to reach multiple people is probably the best way to spread ideas. But at the same time, you know, it's like you gotta be careful.
Yeah,
You gotta be careful about like you know, if what you say gets interpreted the wrong way, or like you know, you might, if like repercussions of what you're pushing that you might not even know about like come to light. So for example, you know, like some of these like Asian crime bills that are being passed, which, you know, are kind of like these shielded ways of like just funding the police force more to, carry out things that might not be beneficial to other communities, in the name of like helping Asians and whatnot. There's a lot of like facets to everything political, that the main narrative and the main benefit might not be the whole picture.
Yeah.
For everything, so it's good to research past that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, like, yeah, with like Jin's like more recent like music, he's been going more like political, and he had that track "Stop the Hatred" with Wyclef that he just put out, and then he had that track about Andrew Yang. So
I did not hear either of those, but
yeah,
I'll check those out after this podcast.
I was gonna say, like, with that, like, it's kind of like, that's what I would, if I ever had Jin on here, that's what I would since that's what he's into now, like I would try to see where his mind state is at.
Right.
With that, because like for me, I don't support people just because they look like me,
Right. You got to know the whole picture.
Yeah. So I would ask him, like, what is his thoughts on, like, his policies and all that. But I don't know. Are you familiar with Andrew Yang?
I'm not super familiar. I probably know as much as like the UBI stuff, but I haven't done like crazy research into him, and I'm not like, super, favorable for him at this point. He hasn't done really anything I think to warrant, my support outright. Especially like I think like some recent comments he's made like on Twitter have been pretty controversial about like Palestine.
Yeah.
I mean, I just haven't really felt super compelled to, I guess, look deeper into him. And I know like there was that big campaign push for him in 2020, but even then it was like it was cool seeing representation. I'm not 100% sure about his policies at this point, but we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah. Did you watch that stand up with Jimmy O Yang on Amazon Video?
I'm not sure I did. I might have. The funny Asian guy one?
Yeah.
I might have seen it when it came out.
Yeah. But they were promoting that, like, he was like a Asian American, and I guess technically he is, but he moved here later in his life, so I could still kind of see like the fobbiness in him.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, man, they're promoting this guy like he's a representation of Asian Americans. But
yeah.
But I guess there are different type of Asian Americans in
That's
America
true.
based off,
in America. I mean, yeah, it's like that. Yeah. I think Asian Americans are so like multifaceted in general. Just like there's so many of us from different backgrounds, like you're saying, from St. Louis. Coming from this background where you're not surrounded by a lot of Asians, versus like an Asian person growing up in like the OC or in San Jose, is gonna have a totally different experience, and totally different lingo, totally different outlooks on life. I actually that's a good point. A lot of the more I guess fobby Asian Americans are kind of overlooked in this like Asian American conversation too. In that they're they live here and they've been here for a long time, sometimes even longer than they've been in home countries where they were born. So at the end of the day, they're still Asian Americans.
Yeah. I got to pick up my manager. I call her my manager, but that's my girl because she makes sure I stay on my P's and Q's and stuff. Yep. But do you mind if I take a piss real quick, and then I wanna blaze some trees with you real quick, and then
yeah, I'm gonna dip out and go pee too. I'll be back.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate your time today.
Yes, sir.
All right,
give me 1 second.
All right. Yep.
Let me get my stizzy.
All right, for sure. I was blazing some shitty weed the past couple weeks because I was trying to save some money. So like I bought some like outdoor grown shit, man, and that shit smelled like the shit like I had in the 90s, man. Like,
damn.
So that shit was kind of hurting my chest a little bit. So I like copped some new shit, like some indoor grown runts. Like,
oh hell yeah.
So this shit is a little bit more like smoother, and it doesn't hurt my chest as much. So
sounds good.
So I'll blaze with you real quick, and yeah, I wanted to blaze with you earlier because sometimes I'll record episodes with certain guests like high, and it definitely changes like the whole like style of record like conversation. I guess
I'd probably talk a lot slower and go on tangents. That's I had to do this there's this like casting interview for some, I forget where, like PBS or some show where they wanted to follow like a few Asian Americans, and they scheduled it for a day. I totally forgot I had it scheduled, but I was high as fuck, and it was like a Zoom call, and I remember them asking something about something super serious about like, you know, the attacks on Asian Americans like recently.
Yeah.
And then I was
I can imagine.
Oh, they were talking about the Atlanta shootings, and I was like, fuck, man, there's like so much to say on this. Where do I go? And then I started like talking, and I forgot what the question was, and then so I like just stopped and like thought, and I had to go back, and I kept like stuttering and all that.
Yeah,
terrible.
I might have known. Was that for like a PBS documentary called Asian Americans?
It might have been. It might have been, actually. That might have been it.
Yeah, because I just watched that 5-part like series on Amazon Video called Asian Americans.
Oh,
and
damn, it's out already. Yeah, I do remember them saying that, like, dude, this was like 2 months ago, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna finish this in like 2 weeks. We got to get this done like ASAP.
Yeah,
you know,
that's funny, man. But yeah, man, cheers. I appreciate your time. I wish we could talk longer, because I like to get high and then go through high thoughts too, you know what I mean, and see where the conversation flows. But maybe like when you get ready to drop like your new project, like I'll get into it, and then maybe we can record something.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, hit me up, I'll be here.
All right, cheers, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Cheers. I don't have anything rolled up, so I'll hit this dizzy.
For sure. I have one of those, like something similar. Like I have like this pen too right here.
Yup, the dad pen.
Yeah.
There we go.
For sure. All right, let's get it.
Yup.
Yeah, man. I feel better already.
I'm about to go on a run after this.
Yeah, it took me a while to like, cause I didn't really like. I dibbled and dabbled with weed like in high school and college a little bit, but I didn't really start smoking it fully till about 2011 when I moved to Diamond Bar.
Oh, yep.
And so
a lot easier to get it.
Yeah, super. Weed is so abundant in California. I was like, and
you pick up from the homies or from the dispensary?
Right now I pick up from the dispensary, but before I still do. Like I have some friends in the game, so like if they have like samples or whatever, they'll throw me some, or I buy it from them. But most of the time I just get my shit off of Weed Maps.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Weed Maps super convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know down there, like a lot of the Asian homies down there, like they move packs. So if you know, like all the suppliers are Asian, so like, it's interesting.
Yeah. My homie that moves out here, like he started selling like chocolate covered mushrooms.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, I've seen a few of those like recently too.
He might be distributing up there to the Bay.
yeah. Man, one of the homies down there in like Long Beach, San Diego area, he got these crazy edibles, like these candies that like, man, it's like 4 or 5 times stronger than the normal shit. And we didn't even know. One time we went to a session. I knew my limit, so I just ate like one. But you know, Sahi and the homie Dane, like the rest of BAYGO, they smoke hella more, so they ate like 4 or 5 these joints. And it was crazy. Just like 30 minutes later, everyone just like vegged the fuck out.
Was that like weed edibles or psilocybin?
Yeah, no, just weed edibles.
Oh, okay.
But you know, homemade candies. Oh, actually, I don't even know if they're homemade. They came in packaging, but I think you know, he has his own like company that produces them. But crazy.
The first time I ever did weed edibles, I was in Vegas, probably like in 2009, and like my guy out here that I met in Korea, like he gave me like, they used to have these like bars, like bang bars. They still have them, but like I don't know like how strong they make them today. But like back then, like the shit was like a triple strength like chocolate bar like this, and it had like 4 pieces, and he gave me like a fourth, right?
Yeah.
And I've never done edibles before, so I was like, man, I don't feel nothing.
Yo, yup. You gotta wait and that shit hits.
And then my boy was like, here, have another half of a quarter. and so I took it, and then we went to the strip club, some strip club in Vegas. It's like off the strip.
Yeah.
But like we get there, and like I see one of like his friends' homies like bugging out, you know? He's like all tripping out. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy, man? And 20 minutes later, I was the same way.
Fuck.
I was all paranoid and shit, and I was like,
that don't sound like a good time.
dude, it gets crazier. Like, I was like looking at all the strippers, man, because I never felt this feeling before. And I was looking at all the strippers, and it looked like their makeup was dripping off their face.
Yeah, you like see it deep. You see the makeup on. It's like you paid that much more attention.
Yeah, it was like, crazy. And then I was playing a lot of Grand Theft Auto at that time, and like, I thought someone was gonna come in and bust in the strip club and start shooting. You know,
Fuck.
I was that paranoid.
That's crazy.
But out of all of that though, like, there was this one stripper that looked like Hayden Panettiere.
Damn.
You know who I'm talking about? The actress, that white actress, Hayden Panettiere. That played.
I'm look her up right now.
Yeah, check her out, man.
Oh, this girl. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, she looked exactly like that, at least in my high mind state.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
She came and sat on my lap, man.
Damn.
And she was trying to get me to go in the back and, you know, get a private.
Yeah.
And I was too high and paranoid, man. I was out of my mind off of that edible.
She was about to rob you.
No, I didn't think that. But I was like so paranoid, and I was just like sitting here like this, all stoned, and like she was like trying to get me to go in the back, and she was like, the only thing I remember that she told me was like, she's like, you look really Asian, but you have a really nice smile. Because I was like this, man, probably like this. She kept saying, let's go, and I'm like, no. Yeah. It's just crazy though. Have you ever had any like interesting experiences off of edibles?
Yeah, I think one of the first few times I did it, I ate too much. I went with some homies to a show, and we just like lost him. We lost him like halfway, and we're like, "Fuck, where'd he go?" And after the show was done, we still couldn't find him. Like we literally waited. We were like waited by the door for everyone to leave, and he's still not there. We're like, "Fuck, I guess we got filed missing homies report," because like everybody was off hella edibles. So we were like, "Damn, I don't know what could have happened to him." It turned out he just got like way too high and went home early. But there's nothing super crazy. But yeah, I mean, edibles fuck me up usually. Like sometimes I'll get nauseous, but that's the only time that I got like zooted. It was like probably the first or second time I ever took them.
Yeah.
One time though, off of dabbing, I went right before all you can eat sushi buffet with the homie, and we took like 3-4 dabs in the car, and I didn't realize how strong dabs were. At the time. So I walked in, I said my name, and I sat down to wait. Or like, no, before I even sat down to wait, I told like the whatever the person at the door's name, my name, and then all of a sudden like I looked, and you know how like when you stand up too fast you see like stars and the shit. I started seeing that, and then like I browned out, like my vision went all like green and brown. I couldn't see shit no more. There were like so many stars and whatever that like I just couldn't see. I was like, holy shit. So when I sat down, and I had to do this for like a solid 10 minutes because I just couldn't see, and I was just so fucking high. I got like mad dehydrated too at that time. I was sitting down, but that sushi buffet did hit.
Yeah. Has this ever happened to you where like you got high and you were eating food and you were like, man, this shit is good, but then you tried it when you were sober and you're like, man, it's not as good?
Yep. With like random creations too, especially with like junk food. But like recently, I haven't been doing that much anymore because every time I eat it now, I'm like, damn, this shit it make me feel terrible.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I definitely.
You never want to eat healthy food when you're high. Like I don't want to eat celery and peanut butter when I'm baked.
That's facts, man. That's facts. I agree. Yeah, man. Like, do you record when you're high though? Like you said you did sometimes, right?
Yeah, sometimes, but when I'm trying to think of like songs off top, I don't remember which ones I did while high. More often, I'll record when I'm like a little drunk, a little buzzed. But yeah, I think I try not to hit the studio high anymore. 'Cause I just I like waste time.
What is like your favorite song on South Bay Summer?
On South Bay Summer, well, it was Ice JJ Fish because that was the first one I made off it, but I got kind of tired of it because I played it so much when I first made it. But probably revisiting it, probably like From the Soil or maybe Whose Airbnb Is This? Yeah.
Yeah, I like the music video you did for Ice JJ Fish. I feel like that deserves like bigger numbers.
Yeah, we actually were gonna do like a totally different concept. We went with like a more simple video, like the mansion idea, because of like COVID. But like originally, like the first draft was like it looked so crazy. It was gonna be like you seen that Black Mirror episode Striking Vipers with they go into the Street Fighter game. I don't know if you remember that, but basically, you know, without the homo part. But
Yeah.
you know, basically we'd be playing.
As soon as you said Street Fighter, I was like, I know what episode he's talking about.
But it'd be like us play. It was supposed to be like us with the homies, just like in a room playing like Street Fighter, and then like all of a sudden the next it'd be like a house party or some shit in there. That was the original concept, but we got what we got, and it was still cool. We just got dancers instead of a crazy set. So
Yeah, yeah. I like your videos. Like the thing about your videos that I like is that they seem to like they match the songs, the content of the songs.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try to be a little more creative than the normal like street video, but those are cool too. I do want to shoot a few of those maybe for certain songs, but yeah, for the songs I got out, it comes with the inception, like trying to bring what I kind of felt when I made it onto the screen.
Yeah. Do you use like different like I guess
Film people.
yeah.
I usually work with a certain few. So the homie Wes, who's my business partner in Five Spice Entertainment, he has his own film company called NYW, and I worked with them before they kind of officially incorporated and started taking on other clients. Like they just kind of did it for fun with me. So for like the Islands video and like Late Nights, and I think some that I'm featured on, they did that. Dale Keano, shout out Dale. He does like a lot of cool work. He's from San Jose, so he did the San Jose video. He does a lot of work for like a lot of Asian rappers. So before Stupid Young got big, when he was still with Jay and Heartbreaker, he did some of their stuff. And he works with a lot of like the street Asian rappers. But I like working with him because like he's like super direct about his business, and he likes working with me because I don't want the normal street video that everyone else wants. Like we'll actually work together and like try to concept something out. And he's like a filmmaker at heart, so he has a lot of fun doing that. So him. For BAYGO, we've been working with Tristan, the Filipino dude, also from San Jose. He does his company is called Vicado, but those are more like guerrilla style, like more low budget videos. But he's super talented as well. He could do a lot with just like a little. So like the Do What I Like video, we kind of just winged that. He pulled up. We did that in like an hour and a half, just like filming random shit. And then the last shout out I would say, the last one I work with is Popeye Media down in LA. They're from Arcadia, and that's run by the homie Jeff, who I know from Oksami, the producer I was telling you about earlier. And when I started with him, he like 3 years ago, we kind of started out at the same time. He's the one, he used to rap too. He put me on my first show out in Santa Barbara.
Dope.
But yeah, his video stuff has like gone crazy, like progression. Like when we first started out, he was shooting like really low budget stuff for me. And then like recently he did the Bust Down Butterflies video for BAYGO that you saw.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, he did that. And if you look up Score by Dana Mar and like Young Jay and Heartbreaker, he shot that video too, which is like super different from like both of them are very different videos. So like he's a very versatile dude.
Yeah.
So
I liked your video Sorry.
Yeah, that was from him too. That was yeah, that dude's like definitely more artsy. He came from like New York, and I think he went to NYU or something. I don't know, but he's a dude you imagine when you think of like an art school Asian dude. So like he's super creative with his ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, I like you have some like attractive like Asian like females in your videos. Like, are these your friends, or do you hire them?
Yeah, I mean, usually like first I'll hit up the homegirls and see like who's down to be in a video, and like a lot of the homegirls model too, so like that's a plus. But at the same time, like I feel like I've probably used like all my friends in all my videos already, so like at this point now I don't want to repeat. I don't want to repeat girls anymore. So now I'm at the point where I have to DM people on IG and be like, hey, I want to do a video.
Yeah.
Because I kind of like I hit everybody up already, and that's why you probably see like repeats in some of my videos of like the same girls, because those are just like
homegirls, or sometimes we'll book somebody that we don't know, and then they'll like flake out last minute, and I'll have to hit somebody I know up to pull up. So,
Yeah, that's dope though, man. Like, yeah, I like what you're doing a lot, man. I respect your grind.
Yeah, thank you, man. I don't mean to put you over. I know you're supposed to pick up your manager. Right now. It's
Yeah.
5:22.
I know, man, but yeah, I'm having fun, man. I wish we could have talked longer, like on this high mind state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
It's cool. There'll be times. Yeah, maybe when we get around the time to release mine and Sahi's joint project, we can talk. With the three of us or something, and do like a joint.
Yeah, that'd be dope, man. I'd love to. Like, I'll definitely like keep supporting you, and like I'll definitely give that new project whatever you release, man. I'll listen to them like
I appreciate it, man.
hardcore,
Thank you.
because like you know how like some like bigger platforms, like
Yeah.
when they talk, I could tell that it's like they didn't really listen to this artist's album, man.
It's like general questions, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've seen a few of those, but yeah, I appreciate you, man. That's
Yeah.
that's dope. You looking into that?
Yeah, I like to know like more about this person than just like asking random questions,
For sure.
like general questions, you know.
100% music nerd. That's how I feel too.
Yeah, you
Like
know.
when I listen to an artist, I go through the whole discography. I'll start from the first tape, and I see their whole progression, and I'll be like, okay, I know why they didn't blow up in 2015, but now this shit fire. So
I know what you mean, man. But I'm like that too. Like I like to, listen to artists' whole like discography. You know, and really understand their mind states at different times of their life.
Yup,
It's
exactly.
dope. All right, man. Do you want me to call you Chow Mane or Chow or
You
Charles?
can call me Chow or Charles. Either is cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta ask you before I let you go. How did you get that name, man?
Yeah, Chow was like kind of the nickname. Like when my grandparents, especially my grandma, tried to pronounce Charles, that's how she said like Chow. And then that was one, and then the other one is like when I was in high school, being one of the only Asian kids, the Hangover movies came out at the same time, so they used to call me Mr. Chow, because I used to like kind of have that personality, like just like hella extra and shit, and then like I would rap and whatever, so people just call me Mr. Chow. Yeah.
I like
So,
that.
That's the background.
Right on. Yeah, man. I appreciate you giving your thoughts and ideas on different topics today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, I'm down, man.
All right.
Whenever.
All right. Have a good rest of the day, man, and keep grinding, my friend.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
All
Have a
right.
good one.
All right. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. Peace.
Double OT.